Welcome to Japan according to Akil. Everything you wanted to know or didn't think you needed to know about Japan. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm relaxing just after the end of another day before I go to bed. And, thought I've been wanting to push record for a couple of days, but, I've been focusing on pumping out some other content for Japanese people. So, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of the priority, and it's going well. So I just gotta keep it up. But which is another reason, if you didn't know, why I'm kind of changed the format of the podcast back to a more scaled down version. Pretty much everything I'm doing, I'm just scaling down the overall, not the quality, over quality of it, just to kind of simplify things and streamline my production process so I could just kind of ramp stuff out. I'm trying to do something every week for you guys if possible, maybe twice a week if I can, really get things in gear. I've only really started this in my new schedule like about a week and a half, just making sure I get to bed on just the basic stuff, getting back to basic stuff, making sure I get to bed on time, so I can get up early, have energy, reading like the way I'm supposed to, just making sure I'm using my time, getting rid of time waster stuff and stuff like that. And it's really working. I'm really looking forward to seeing, if I can keep this up for several months, like what kind of momentum I'll have towards the end, by the end of the year. But anyway, let's get into the topic of today, which you'll probably notice. It's something that I just randomly came across on TikTok. And I was like, okay, this is something I'd never heard of, and I'll just bring it to you guys. It's kind of dark, which I normally avoid, but I thought you might want to know about it. It piqued my interest. I spent like about 10, 15 minutes scrolling through some shit, and I was like, okay, this is enough of this negative ass shit. Let me turn this off. But I'll talk to you about it for about 10, 15 minutes anyway. It's something called Toyoko Kids. I think that's the name of it. It's Toyoko Kids. I'm pretty sure. This is off the top of my memory. But the spelling of it in Japanese is quite weird. It's katakana and kanji mixed together. Now, apparently, like, don't quote me on it, and you can just copy and paste the title from the video if you want to, do a little digging on your own. But basically, from my understanding, listening to a couple of interviews and shit from a couple of TikToks, and then I hopped on YouTube and checked it out a bit more. Basically, in Kabuki Show, which is why I don't fuck with Kabuki Show at all. If you've heard some of my stories, have I told my bachelor party stories? I haven't told stories from my bachelor party days, which I'm not gonna tell on this joint, but because nah. But yeah, around the time when a few people were getting married, me and guys, we had our bachelor parties in Kabukicho because they have strip clubs in Kabukicho. And besides that, like, I rarely go there. I probably count on like one hand, maybe two, the amount of times I've been in Kabukicho at night. It's just not my kind of place. In Shinjuku at night, it's just not my kind of place. If you like to hang out there, hey, do your thing. But I'm just saying, for me, it's not my style. It's a little bit, but the Toyoko Kids apparently is like this open courtyard area in Kabukicho. It's just one area, and so apparently it's become kind of a gathering place for all the disturbed young delinquents, I guess, like from all parts of the Tokyo area, who come there to gather and hang out, get drunk, and make videos on fucking social media, and just basically just wild out. Pretty much is what it seems like. So in one interview, I was hearing one person say that, I guess, it started with just young people, and initially it was people in their 20s, I guess, whatever, who were just kind of disenfranchised youth, pretty much, who would just come hang out. And I guess it spread on Twitter, and so then it started to age down, and so now it's just like teens, like 15, 14, junior high school kids and shit, showing up there, just, you know, sitting on the street, um, making videos, content, getting drunk. I don't even want to know the type of shit that goes on there because, like, it's just kind of like, yeah, it's not my thing at all. But I was kind of fascinated by it. So, of course, like, the police kind of come in and kind of shoo them away every now and then. But it's that area, so there's really not much they're not gonna come in with a riot squad and start cracking skulls or anything. It's not Japan. Japan doesn't operate like that, especially with people that young. So I mean, there's trash. I mean, just looking in the background, there's trash and empty bottles and food, like, and rats, and it's just like, but you know, people go there, I guess, because you know, it seems like a lot of the kids have problems at home or in school. You know, there seems to seem cutters, people cut themselves. Again, I'm not knocking cutters. I got okay. Story time. Story time. I a long time ago, a long time ago, over like 12, when I was an early teacher, um, somewhere. I won't say where, but I remember I had this student, and she was so nice, and she like was totally cool, and you know I was getting into my mid to late 20s, and so I'm trying. She was a teenager. I'm trying to be like, you know, give life advice and shit like that, and then. You know, I noticed she was a cutter. She, you know, she like cut her wrists all up and shit like that. She'd come in with bandages, but she was cool. Like we were talking, and you know, our lessons and stuff like that. And yeah, she was going like on a study abroad program. And I was like, okay, great, it's your chance. And I was like giving her tips and stuff like that, how to make friends. She came back and she was like, yeah, basically, I just flipped out and tried to jump out a window, start beating people up. And they just had to send my ass home after like 2 days. I was like, oh my gosh. She was like, yeah, it was, I don't know. I just like went crazy. I was like, oh, okay. I don't want to see that side of you. You know, I only got like the daytime kind of side of her. I don't want to see the flip out going crazy side. And that's a little side anecdote. Not all students are like that. I've only met maybe a handful of students like that in my time here. But, you know, I would say probably for me, ones who are like that because they can open up in English. You know, speaking in English is kind of like a different world. And it's true too. Like when I talk in Japanese, I'm a very different person. I carry myself in a very different way than I do in English. You know, not on purpose. It's just naturally like that. Like you have kind of like a separate persona the deeper you go into the language here. And I think it's the same thing for Japanese people. Just naturally, a different side of your personality comes out. So I guess with that student, like I guess she was just um, able to, or it might have been like, you know, her just only showing me one part of her persona, you know. But yeah, I can't remember her name. I can't remember, but I just clearly remember some of the conversations I had with her. And I was like, really, you got mental problems? She was like, yeah, I'm fucking crazy. And I was like, I mean, by all the like slashes on your wrist and your arm, I believe you because you're bleeding on the table. But you know, you seem like a really nice person. Hey, you know, but I digress. Anyway, um, again, I'm not being. If you know anyone who's like a cutter or anything like that, I'm not making light of those type of mental issues or anything like that. I'm just telling the story. You know, we all got our shit that we have in our past and our demons or whatever. We all have to deal with them. I got demons. I got demons. You know, but I've learned to kind of deal with them and overcome them. And I hope you or you know if whoever you know can do the same thing. Like in same thing watching like the people in was that place the Toyoko Kids, the Toyoko Kids. I was thinking the same thing, but you know it seemed like they yeah, you know, like a few of the kids who got interviewed, you know, they just got trouble at home, trouble at school, and some of them are runaways. It seems like some of them just like dip out the house, you know. But again, Japanese parents, generally speaking, when it gets to a certain point, they don't know what to do, so they just kind of ignore it, ignore the problem in many situations. So yeah, they just run off and spend, you know, I mean, in Tokyo, it's really not that hard. You just hop on the train, and you can make your way to Kabuki Show. And you can, and once the last train is there, you're just out all night. And, you know, like you feel like you got a community of people, whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, again, I'm not knocking it. I'm not bashing it. I'm not judging. It's not my thing. So I just checked like about videos for like 15 minutes, and I had to cut this shit off because it was kind of depressing for me, and then you get into like the dark side of shit because apparently there's like, underage, um what's the word? Again, because I'm not trying to get this video censored, but it probably already is. 'Cause I'm talking about cutting this shit. But um, you know, selling of services, I'll say that, of young people in that area. Apparently, because if you think about it, you got a kid who runs away from home, who's like 15, 16. Maybe I don't even want to think about it. Maybe 14, whoever lost in the world don't know what the fuck to do, and the only thing they got is what they got, to offer. And so, at nighttime, apparently, I was like, it was a YouTuber who was like showing, he would go over and talk to some of the people. Of course, he blocked out all their faces and stuff, and kind of asked, and they were trying to catch customers, and there were some weird businessmen hanging around there too. I can imagine like it gets really shady and fucked up. But again, that's another reason why I just don't go in that area. I don't hang out in that area. I never did. And that's like in the Yamanote line. For me personally, again, just me personally, northern, western Yamanote line areas is just not my style. I'm more southern or southeastern Tokyo. There's a big difference between those two areas. And so if, you live where you want to live, but if, in the Yamanote line area, if you can eastern, southeastern, between Tokyo Station and let's say Yoyogi Station, about between those two, like if you look on the map, it's like southeastern. Those are probably more the trendier, safer, more reputable parts of Tokyo. I have lived in northeastern Tokyo, northeast of Ueno, when I lived in a guest house, but I never lived in the western part, just because like every time I remember, like, not like you like looking down on it, just like it's not my it's not my cup of tea, because I want to chill. So, but anyway, check out. I don't encourage you to check out the Toyoko Kids, but the other night, like before going to bed, like it came across my timeline. It was pretty shocking, just because I didn't know that there was a group that was that blatantly disenfranchised, of young people. And I was just watching and thinking, what's going to happen to these kids in like 20 years, like 10, 20 years? Because we have the hikikomori issue in Japan now. And if this generation of young people, which probably isn't that large, but it seems like that's become a hub, or for those people, what's going to happen to them in like 5, 10, 20 years? I don't fucking know. No clue. And we're going to have to wait and see. It'll probably be on the news. It'll probably be like a news documentary about the shit or some shit like that. But whatever. Hey, whatever. It's their lives. My job is to make sure my kids don't end up like that. That's my job, right? To keep them off the fucking streets of Kabuki Show. And so, hopefully, I can do a pretty good job of that. I think I'm doing all right so far. But all right, let me wrap things up here. Thanks again, you guys, for liking, subscribing, following, all that jazz. Hope you enjoying the increased frequency of content, even if the audio is not picture perfect. Let me know what you think in the comment, and I'll holler at you next time. Peace.